Okay. Oh, wrong order. Oh no, camera isn't working. All right, let me fix that. Cool. So that should be all good. You can hear audio, but no audio for me today, unfortunately. Lots of problems this morning. I meant to start about 3/4 of an hour ago, but whatever. We'll do what we can. Today's going to be a little bit shorter as well because I will need to do my day job, I suppose, in about an hour's time. Then yeah, hopefully tomorrow will be a little bit longer. Alright, so what are we going to do? So I got the Federations DLC, and last time we played a couple of games to do war, right? And I thought I would try something different and instead go for Federations. Depending on what AI you get, you might still have to go to war to conquer the whole galaxy, right? Like, if you have a xenophobe, they're unlikely to want to federate with you. But we'll see. We'll see how we go. The other thing that I'll do is look at this setup again today. We might not get much further than that today, and see if we should tweak it at all, given that, you know, diplomacy is going to be more important than what it was before. Before it was pure sort of output for, what do you call that, energy credits, research, what else, alloys, right? Which is still going to be important, because I think the way Federations work is that people are more or less willing to federate with you depending on how much of an advantage you have over them. So for example, if you have a much stronger fleet, they're more likely to want to federate with you, right? And then I think once you're in a federation, to sort of take over the other person, you have to have a big advantage over them as well. But right, let's take a look at this. Maybe we'll leave this in place. No, it doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. So the appearance again doesn't really matter. Alright, so the focus is going to be at least trying to see if we can maybe get some more envoys. That might help, or something like that. But let's see if there's anything. So this is still useful stuff, right? So this doesn't change. Research is still going to be important. Alloy output is going to be important. Habitability, more planets, all that stuff, economy, and so on is all really important. So that doesn't change. But let's see if there's anything in here. So food doesn't help. Energy credits is not going to help. Trade value, not really. This would be nice, but I'd have to give up one of these other ones. So intelligent, or yeah, basically I'd have to give up intelligent, right, to be able to capture this. But let's see. Growth speed doesn't really change anything. Leader experience gain. This might be good because we'll need good envoys, right? Maybe switch that in over this. Might be good. Let's see. Unity from jobs. Empire sprawl, I think none of that matters. Army damage is fine, but doesn't really help that much. Leader lifespan. That might be good, but then we'd have to switch out something, right? Like maybe it's a leader focused game where you try and get your leader to be the best that they can be. I don't think that I'll double down on this just yet. I'll probably go for the experience gain and see. I might not be able to win the game on first go or form a federation on the first go, because we might have to go at it a couple of times and learn, which is part of the fun, right? All right, we will then take maybe this out, consumer goods upkeep, and instead go for like fast learners, whatever that was, quick learners, lead experience gain. All right, we'll try this setup. So a slight change, a little bit more consumer goods required, but leaders are going to be better than they were in the past, right? Which is fine. All right, let's see if there's anything here. Oh, so we have a few more options. All right, let's see. Relic world, ring world, orbital habitats, members, species, 50% more, surf habitability and growth penalties. Doesn't help. Start as a vassal of a full empire. Dormant gateway in the home system. Start as the leader of a hegemony federation with 2 additional members. Members will occupy any guaranteed habitable world starts near your system. Federation tradition unlocked. Okay. Start as the leader of a galactic union federation with 2 additional members. Members will occupy any guaranteed habitable world slots near your home system. Start with the Federation tradition unlocked. Start with an accurate survey to mysterious benefactor in your home system. I mean, these are sort of thematic, but at the same time, I don't know if it really helps, right? It just sounds to me like it's harder if you enable these 2, because you don't have control initially over the 2 habitable planets. I mean, you don't have to go for them, but like you don't have to build the colony ship and so on, but I'd rather sort of federate in a meaningful way where it's with an AI. Separate effects in advanced empire if the species is spawned somewhere in the galaxy. Striking colonists in June. Okay, and then the rest is still not. I'll get all of this DLC eventually. I might just go with the vanilla start here. Yeah. Alright, let's see. So research speed is still nice. Specialist power. So let's just see. So these 2 are still nice, right? But maybe Xenophile. See, this available envoys is probably quite valuable if you're trying to form federations. Maybe I'll trade this for the first level. The specialist pop resource output is still pretty good. 10%. We would start with 1 additional envoy, but so that's 3, and then there's you can get to 5 as well with your first what do you call ascension perk. So this, I might switch these over, just because 5% research speed maybe isn't as well. I mean, it's still good, right? It doesn't stop being good, but maybe this is better if you are focused, because you run out of envoys pretty fast. early on because you meet a lot of alien empires. I don't think that will help. This doesn't help. I don't think Unity is that good. An edict costs -5%. It's like whatever. When you start putting edicts in, it doesn't really matter that it's 5% less. I mean, this is okay, but if we're trying to be nice to people and federate, maybe we shouldn't be militarists. Influence cost, I mean, this is always nice, but xenophobe is against, I guess, the theme or the intent. And pacifist is probably not going to work because we still might need to take on. So I'll go for this. Xenophile, so we have one additional envoy, and we still keep the specialist pop resource output. Okay, consumer goods, and these are still good. Let's see if there's anything else. Monthly unity, doesn't really edict, whatever. Wow, +2 and more diplomatic weight. This may well be what I switch maybe environmentalist for. Can I click on this? No. I have to get rid of something. I'd rather sort of stay up here, but anyway, pop growth speed from immigration. This might actually be pretty good. Immigration is a good source of population growth. Maybe I should try that at some point. Maybe we can have this be like the one that we add on at a later point. What else? I'm just checking that sound is fine, okay. Faction influence gain, whatever. Alright, I think we'll get rid of environmentalists and go for the diplomatic corps. So then we start with 5 envoys now. And we have additional diplomatic weight. Alright, let's go with that. Still can only do democracy, which is fine. Alright. It's all fine. Okay. Let's save that. And fine, thank you. Are we changing anything here? I don't think so. This is all fine. Alright, let's go for it. We have a little bit of time to start. I think the early game is going to be pretty similar though. Like it's not going to change very much. Your economy still matters. Your fleet power still matters. All of that still matters. Doesn't change that much. Alright, but let's take a look through. So policies. We definitely need to be sending an envoy to improve relations costs. The Empire will attempt to bully weaker. Okay. Cooperative will attempt to find common ground and negotiate with other empires in the name of friendship. Sending an envoy to harm relations costs. Attempt to find common ground. Okay. Isolationist. Empire wishes to be left alone. Its empire seeks to grow peacefully, but has no specific diplomatic focus. Outpost build cost, colony development speed. Maybe we should do this cooperative one. Diplomatic weight, ooh, that's pretty good. Envoy, improve, ooh. Border friction. Operation cost and upkeep is a little bit more expensive. Okay, it sounds like that would be the one. Still probably want to keep unrestricted wars because any xenophobes we will have to take over. We'll leave this. Resettlement is nice, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to get factions that are not going to like it if I change that. So resettlement, if you don't know, the reason that you might want to do it is on certain planets, like maybe some of your income or economy is a little bit imbalanced, right? But maybe you have a planet that, okay, let's say the scenario is that you don't have enough energy credits, but you have too much minerals, right? And you have one planet that's a mining world that has too much population, and one world that's a energy credits world that doesn't have enough, right? So with resettlement, you could switch that and fix your economy up, which is nice. It tends to cost influence unless you have a way. There's like a perk or a I'm gonna turn that notification sound off. Sorry. There's a policy or some sort of maybe species. I can't remember exactly what it is that changes that resettlement cost. You still have to pay energy credits though. This is fine, proactive. So the proactive one will make it easier. It will make it easier to sort of be successful in the first contact process, which is good. So it says cannot attack neutral entities, which is fine. Other empires will find it easier to establish communications, and we get more influence from each successful first contact, which is good. Right, we'll close the ones that I've taken care of. I'm sort of divided on the border status. Let's see what it says. Borders will be open to other empires by default. Isolation invites suspicion, and suspicion invites conflict. Let us show our neighbors that we have nothing to hide. The only reason that closed borders is nice is so that choke points have meaning. If you let AI sort of get through, sometimes they sort of leapfrog. Once you've captured a choke point, they still build a starbase outpost behind it. But anyway, we'll leave it open for now. Closing it would be sort of against the theme. This is good. Mixed economy, so actually say the commences will drive more peace to restrict ourselves to narrow. We must be ready to okay. So this is like, I think this is fine. If you have a, let's say you're in a, this might still be a good policy to have, right? Because you tend to want a lot more alloys than you care about consumer goods. Consumer goods, you're just trying to keep sort of neutral. You don't need them for anything. You just need to sort of stay at zero with it, right? So you need to feed your researchers and all the others that consume it. But you tend to want to have a lot of alloys. So this might be a good policy to run anyway, even though it's not thematic, right? But we'll leave it on sort of mixed economy for now. This trade policy, I think it's always a good idea to do consumer benefits, because there's 0.5 credits for 0.25 consumer goods is a pretty good trade-off, right? So normally you get one, but if you switch to this, you still get half an energy credit per trade value, but also 0.25 consumer goods, which is a pretty good exchange rate. If we look at the market, it's at about 2.6, which is normal for it to start at that. So we'll switch it to consumer benefits. I can actually outlaw robotic workers, but if a faction demands that I do, I may well. I'm not a big fan of robotic workers anyway. They're similar to what do you call gene clinics that give you like a slight bit of boost for your population growth, but it just doesn't help you that much. Like you may as well have the population work on the thing that you want population for, and it's the same with the robotic workers. It's not really worth building them. You may as well have that population do whatever you were going to use the population for. But I haven't experimented with robots that much. It might be that because they don't have certain, like they don't have a food requirement, maybe they're better, but they take a long time to build and you have to unlock the technology for it. Maybe if you pick a certain race, that's, I might want to do like a robot playthrough. Might be pretty cool. This is fine, but don't need slavery, don't need purging. Alright, cool. Alright. I'm still probably going to go for the same, like this sort of stuff early on. Like the research boosting techs. And then here, what do we have here? So we have better research speed here. This sort of, I guess, trait to a large degree determines the kind of text that you get. So for example, Void, if you have a specialist with Voidcraft, you're more likely to get text that unlock new ship types and that sort of stuff. So here we have a bunch of I guess war techs. This is good. Once you get battleships, the strike craft are really good to have on there. But it's going to be a long time before we have battleships. And I don't really like building destroyers or the other one that's in between, because they're not competitive long term, and they don't sort of serve a function, right? So corvettes serve the function of like sort of mass attack at the enemy and distract, and you want to get your corvettes to be very good at evasion, so the enemies just can't hit you. And then you have some other fleets that sort of stay back and lay down fire, and battleships are just the best for that. I haven't seen a army build that's more effective, and the strike craft can take the role of the corvettes as well. So you end up not really needing the corvettes. The corvettes are nice sort of cleanup crews because they're a bit faster than the battleships. But yeah, I'm interested to hear if you have any other strategies for incorporating some of the other ship types into your game. So I'm gonna go for afterburners are nice, but early on just making them a bit more tanky is probably a good idea. Alright, so we've taken care of policies. I'm not gonna do these yet. Right, so what part of the... So now we have to start thinking about what direction we explore in, right? And exploration is pretty... So the reason you want to capture more systems is that's how you power your economy, right? So just by building this research station, I permanently get 2 extra engineering research added. I think there's an upkeep cost to having the station around, but for the whole game you just get more research, right? So it's worthwhile to build these. And the more systems you capture, the more of these kind of enhancements do you get. And then the other reason is to capture planets. And new planets are the main engine room for your economy. So there's we have sort of 4 options here to do the first exploration, right? And kind of the thought process is, let's say we get to this choke point, right? And we have an AI that sort of already has this. It's unlikely that an AI is right here, but if we capture this choke point, we have a much higher chance that we retain everything behind this choke point, right? And then I can delay getting these few systems online, right? I might just sort of rush for this choke point and then backfill once there are no more choke points to capture. So that's usually the strategy. And then the other important thing is to develop your planets or your colonies as early as possible. So in this case, I could explore either in this direction or in this direction. The sort of optimal path, or the quickest path for this direction, would be to explore this system. But I already know that Alpha Centauri is going to be one of our habitable worlds. So that's why I would send a science ship in this direction first, and then look to be able to build a second science ship to be able to go in this direction. So I'm gonna survey this system, and then also go for another science ship. Okay, I think we can get going. Just gonna have some water. Right, hope you can hear. Looks like you can hear sound, which is good. I can't. My I have AirPods Max, but sometimes they play up. They're especially, you know, if you just use them as headphones, they're nice. But if you have like a
construction complete
audio setup that needs to keep working, like in a streaming setting, some of the very good automation that Apple does makes it a little bit harder. Like if I put them on, they switch to that rather than a particular output that also captures system output and sends it to the AirPods Max as well. But anyway, okay. Didn't read whatever I just dismissed. Oh, we built the science ship, so we'll move here and then assign a leader. So with this leader selection, right, you could right now just focus on anything that helps you with exploration and surveying, right? In which case I would probably pick this one because they're the youngest. Like this is just industry research, this is Voidcraft. None of these actually help with exploration and surveying system. So then the next thing you want to look at is how old they are, because the older they get, the more likely they are to die. And the longer that they sort of stay around, the more skills they can develop and get better. So you typically, if you don't care about these traits, you typically then want to look for age. But the other thing that's on my mind is that the engineering researcher that we have, I mean, research speed plus 5% is good, but I'd rather, so you can pick sort of two things, right? So you can either do sort of all research faster, right, which is fine, or you can have a scientist that gets you more of the text that you care about, right? Even if you have a slower research rate, at least you're not wasting it on research that you don't care about. So I'd rather have a researcher that produces more text that I actually care about, and maybe researches them at a slower rate, than slightly faster researching text that I don't care about. So that's why I'm going to switch this guy into this Voidcraft scientist, and then assign the guy that was doing the engineering research to this science ship, and then do this surveying. And the reason that you want to do surveying is that unless you survey the system, you can't build an outpost there, right? So once you know about a particular system or a choke point that you want to get to, maybe I want to get to this choke point, unless I've surveyed all the way there, I can't do it. So that's why surveying is really good. So I'm waiting here right now to capture this little bit of extra like energy credits and minerals that's available in this system, and then after that I'll probably go for save up for I'll explain this as well. Save up for a colony ship to capture this. I should actually be doing that probably on priority. I just need a bit more alloys, which I might buy up. Anyway, so these anomalies are really good and you'll want to research them. But right now, it's the name of the game is land grab, right? Or galaxy grab. I don't know what. It's probably the same principle. Like land grab is intending to say that you want to have more usable land, and anomalies don't help with that, right? They produce really good output, but my scientists are low level, so they take a long time to research now anyway. So I may as well do the surveying, and once I run out of surveying, so basically once the territory that we're going into has been mapped out, then you can go back and do the anomaly research, which is a really good boost to your sort of late start of the game, right? Once you have everything that you need in terms, or that you can get in terms of land. Okay, so they have sort of 8 more. Colony ships take a long time to build, so I may as well get it going now. But I'm gonna need a colony ship is 200 of both food, of all of food, alloys, and consumer goods. So I'm gonna need more consumer goods. Alloys then, and they're expensive. So I'm gonna need both enough to build the outpost, which is I think 90, as well as enough for the colony ship. So I might sell down a couple of hundred of food, so I have 200 left, and maybe sell down to 200 here, and then see how much, if I can get this to 200 at least, which I can, and then I'm out. But that's okay. The construction ship will take a while to get there anyway. So and this is not researched yet, so I'll probably refill on alloys by then. And whilst this is still doing its surveying of Alpha Centauri, which takes a bit of time, I'll sort of boost my economy a little bit here. This is like a little chain of events that starts and finishes once you settle your first colony. So if you want to read that, feel free, but I'm probably going to click through it fairly quickly. Yeah. I think this policy, this diplomatic stance, I don't think that I've seen that before. So this is good. Yes, we will keep doing. We'll keep being open. Right. So this construction ship can move in here once it's done, and this science ship will keep surveying towards choke points. So if you hold down shift and then do sort of the next action, your ships will continue with your current action and then go on to do what you just asked them to do, right? Now the only sort of downside of the surveying towards choke points approach is that you don't necessarily know if you get habitable planets in a certain system, right? So if you have if you have a potentially habitable planet that's bordering, that's in the system that's next to your border, the game will tell you. But if the habitable planet is 2 or more systems away, it won't, and you will only find out if you get a science ship into that system, then it tells you. So if you maybe I'll point out an example if we find one, but sometimes if you don't end up surveying that system as you are sort of spreading out, you can miss some habitable planets. But you can't do everything well, right? You need to prioritize amongst your different resources that you have, and securing as much sort of systems as possible, I think optimizes sort of overall, but in terms of getting a very strong economy. This is another interesting chain of events that takes quite a long time to play out, but I think there's a good system at the end.
Situation log updated.
Alright. almost done, and then we can, this is probably going to be done pretty soon as well. Alright.
Construction complete.
So now this ship should be moving in here, and then this science ship is almost done with the last. So I may as well queue up the, well, once the, I'll get the colony ship to move in as well. Once this is finished, then I can build the outpost here. Right.
Situation log updated.
Oh, so it's still having to do a bit of surveying. So maybe this guy was a little bit preemptive, but whatever. So one of the problems with me not having sound is that I don't necessarily notice these. I hope it hasn't been up there for too long. Looks like maybe a month. But so usually I go for discovery into expansion, and I usually even skip after I get this tech. I stop going into discovery and sort of do this one. Diplomatic influence cost. I don't know how good this stuff is yet, when in terms of federations and so on. Form federation. So it looks like I probably need to go for this pretty early on. Don't know how I would prioritize these between these two. So forming a federation probably happens after the land grab is over. Like that's when you might start to think about it. So maybe this still gets prioritized ahead of diplomacy. Like maybe this, then to here, and then the balance. You might want to finish this and then go for this, or you might sort of go for this earlier. But anyway, so we'll go for discovery for now. So once this surveying is done, I'll be able to build the outpost here. The outposts usually build pretty fast.
System survey complete.
And then I'll get this guy to move to tend to the orbit, and then we'll have a kind of optimized, I guess, time here, but anyway. I'll need to keep an eye out on here more so than usual. Right, so once
Construction
this
complete.
is finished, then we'll colonize. That was a pretty well-timed
System survey complete. Colonization in
there.
progress.
Like, I don't think it was that possible to have it work out any more I don't know, like the colony ship was arriving just at the time when I started to be able to do it. This comet sighted is just, I think it's a bit of a joke. Sometimes you can get good things, like in this case we get like additional happiness, sometimes you get some research out of it, sometimes people randomly get scared. So, I don't know, kind of an interesting part of the game. But, right, the other thing that's good here is that, and I'm likely to go to, so I happen to know that this Sirius system contains a habitable planet, so that'll be the next sort of expansion direction that we go into. Maybe I should read them more often. Okay, I don't remember this system. I don't know if this is going to be habitable, but it'll be interesting to see whether it is. Okay, so let's say that I survey this system, right? And because this system isn't a choke point, I'm not gonna actively survey it, right? I'd rather survey this system to keep going towards a choke point. But the consequences is, unless I build my border to here, I won't know whether there's a habitable planet in here if I don't decide to survey it. So that happens to not be habitable. I know that this will be habitable, but I should get another science ship here as well. The number of science ships really depends on sort of the number of arms that you have, that you want to explore, right? So down here, I should probably get even one more after this one, because we have this direction that this science ship is probably going to take. We have this direction that this science ship is probably going to take. Now, I don't know why there are so many buttons here. Oh, there was a lot of first contact. So I'm gonna need to want to look at the kind of ship that we encountered and see its behavior to see what you know. This might be a science ship. So if it parks, yeah. So it means that there's likely to be an AI over here, right? So they haven't had a chance to expand to this system yet, but they're surveying it. So kind of the trade-off that I have right now that I need to think through is, how much do I prioritize a land grab over here? Like, I don't want them to capture this system. That would be a pretty bad outcome, because then they can also grab these couple of systems, right? But this system isn't very good. It only does 3 minerals, so I'm probably not going to prioritize that over going for Sirius and maybe more in this direction. It just looks like I'm out of luck in this direction, and there's an AI that spawned very close to me. Hopefully they're friendly and I can federate with them, but yeah. So then I'll explain this sort of first contact. So the idea is that when you meet like an alien empire, you can't necessarily talk to them, right? Because they might speak a different language or whatever. So the way that you get through this is that you assign an envoy, and then you go through like a series of, I don't know, interactions here that eventually will lead to establishing communications. And for some reason it looks like there's like a number of first encounters here, which I haven't seen before, but I'll assign an envoy to all of these. Now you can already see the advantage that we have by having 5 envoys here. I can do all of these first counter events, which are going to give me more influence as well, and I get to kind of discover where the AI empires are and where their borders are currently much sooner, which is quite good information to have. Because if let's say the border is here right now, then I know that I can still get to this choke point and maybe get out here, but it's pretty unlikely. Like, it's so early on. My borders are sort of 2 systems away and I just met them, so they might have already got their borders here, and if they're prioritizing in this direction, they may get this system very quickly, right? This might be their home world. So I should sort of close things off here, but it's not really worth it. I'm very unlikely to be able to get to this choke point. So the other question is, which order do I go in here, right? Do I go for this system first or this system? Do I let this finish building the minerals? Maybe I build another construction ship, but a construction ship is going to cost me some minerals, some alloys. Let's see. They only have a very small number of orders left, so I'm probably going to build this outpost and then this outpost, and then I'm going to need more alloys to build a colony ship. Anyway, move there. I should probably queue up the colony ship right now. I've got plenty of alloys actually, plenty of money, I should say. Alright. We're also going to be looking for a migration treaty early on. Actually, okay. So this planet might not actually be habitable right now, right? But with a migration treaty, it may well be habitable pretty soon. Like, if I get a good migration treaty with a couple of AIs, this might turn into a green planet, and then it would be really good to actually have access to it. So I might Actually, I might prioritize going for this system on that basis, that I'm hoping to get a migration treaty and then be able to capture it. So I might even abandon building a mining station and instead go for it. How much more surveying is here? Only 6, and they only just started, so I'm probably going to be able to beat them to this system. We'll see if it pays off. Right. Don't really need this extra science ship, given that there's only very limited exploration over here. But I have them now. Anyway. I'll assign. The other thing that I'm going to be looking for is a particles scientist, which is the blue variant, because they get me some energy weapons, but there aren't any here. This leader experience gain is nice, so I'll go for them. And then they can survey this system. And then the other one, let's see how we go on this roll now. So now I'm just going to go for age, right? So 34 is pretty young. Right. The other thing to think about is, do you get another construction ship? I don't think you really need to.
Anomaly found.
Alright, we'll take a look at that. I don't think you really need to, because you're going to be limited by the amount of influence you have anyway. Like, right now, if I had an additional construction ship, okay, they might be able to capture this slightly earlier, but then it just is going to sit around for a really long time. So, anyway, this is one of the first contact events. It doesn't look like it got me anything, and still got a 0% breakthrough chance, but just have to keep sort of going at it. Okay, there's another first contact.
System survey complete.
Strategic resources are nice, but they're not going to matter for a really long time. So this is building a starbase, and then I'm going to want to prioritize getting one in here, in the hopes of turning this into a habitable planet once I get a migration treaty, maybe with some of these guys. Okay, there's more. So the reason you go for this one here is because the survey speed. Basically, it means that you will have more information a lot faster, right? You can survey almost 50% faster, twice the rate. So, sorry, no, not twice the rate, but 1.5 times the rate. Okay, we got very unlucky here.
Construction complete.
I wanted to pause that. Like, I still suspect that there's an alien empire over here, and they're very close to this choke point. To the point where if they lock me off here, then I'm almost out of options over here, right? Might have just gotten unlucky with this game that we have 2 AI empires very, very close. But anyway, we'll see. We'll play this out for a little bit more. Alright, we'll get moving over here. And this only connects over here. So, even if I capture this, I might still have to go for this choke point.
System survey complete.
Right, so I can build this starbase outpost and now keep pushing in this direction, even though I think that I'm pretty locked in here. we'll survey maybe this system here. Just a random setback, whatever. Then after we capture this system, we'll get this guy to move over here. Still need more influence, but that's okay. We'll get there by the time this guy is finished over here. So if you look at this, there's already a starbase established here. Well, or it's building it to some degree. This looks like a... I don't recognize this. Is this move? No. But it looks like this is already an occupied system, and we're locked in over here. Like, there's no way out, right? So we're probably going to be stuck with maybe 2 or 5 planets here, which is kind of unlucky. We might have to do a reroll, but we'll let this this chain of events keep going, and we'll see what comes of it. Sorry, I'll turn it off for now.
Construction complete.
I have to stop in a few minutes. So I don't feel too bad that this game is maybe not going to work out. Sometimes you get unlucky with sort of spawns. Right, just moving out. Oh, actually, there's a way out over here. So this choke point is gonna be important, but I'm very unlikely to be able to get to it. Let's see. No, there's nothing here. Might have been a mistake to prioritize this over the ability to get out, but actually, one thing I should check. This might be the Fallen Empire. Yeah. So they're not going to expand. Over here, they're not expanding. So I don't have to worry about getting to these choke points too much. So the Fallen Empire is like an insurance policy against the unbidden that come in the late game. But otherwise, you can attack them, and they're like quite strong, and it's a bit of fun to sort of prove yourself against them. You probably need to have a few 100k battleship fleets to be able to take them on. But yeah, so I'm less worried about them, and that's why they don't have a like first contact kind of a thing. But they can also just lock us out of being able to expand over here. But they tend to have fairly small empires, so I'm kind of hopeful that I can still get out over here. But anyway, we'll see how we go.
System survey complete.
This is our first contact. Still not done yet. We'll still build this up though. Still need some more influence cost, but whatever. I'm interested to see whether we can actually build an outpost over here. I don't think that we can. But we'll see.
System survey complete.
Still need a bit more. Alright, we have another first contact. It's very unlikely that none of this is like an alien empire. It's too much to not at least have an alien empire in there.
Research complete.
Right. Pop growth speed is really good, especially early on. You can see how kind of questionable the species modifier for pop growth speed is, that because you get this pretty early on and it's basically the same, right? Okay, maybe then you get sort of the benefit twice, but you know, it's not as good as the 10% specialist pop resource output. Like, you don't get that for a very, very long time, if ever, in here. Maybe you can get it through the Unity, but that also takes a long time, and I think it's capped at 5% rather than 10. Still needing to work through this.
System survey complete.
This might also be a primitive well. Right, so no, we can't build a outpost here, so we're locked out there. So it's not really worth keeping on exploring in this direction right now. So I'll get this science ship to be reprioritized over here. Actually, well, this will take so long to get over here that it doesn't really matter. Actually, you can do this, and then you can survey that system. Alright. Probably gonna stop in like 5 minutes or so. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to go for a little bit longer. This morning I had a lot of tech difficulties, unfortunately.
Anomaly found.
But you can't control that stuff, right? We can build this now. Then... Okay, let's see what kind of ship this is. This looks like a... This isn't an alien empire. They're just sort of parked there. I think they're like random aliens or something. So we can assign a first contact person there. I'm happy that they're not aggressive. That'd be really annoying, and it would sort of lock me off from this. Still hopeful that, you know, the borders sort of don't encapsulate this system, or that this connects out. So, but we'll see. I wanted to get this close to Sirius. Alright. So this is surveying that. Both of these are what? So that's surveying here, this is surveying here, this is surveying here.
Construction complete.
Okay. Now
Research
we can
complete.
get this to colonize. We also have our first colony established, but I'll probably leave it there. Let's take a look at what this. So I have to leave it there for today, but like I said, tomorrow I'll try and start a little bit earlier and sort of hope that there are no tech issues. I'm gonna go for this research speed, but anyway. Right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow again. Sorry again that today was only in an hour, but hopefully I'll do better tomorrow.